You know, I'm not really sure how I want to open this video. I blame my strange relationship with Sonic and the Secret Rings. As a kid, I saw a copy while visiting somebody, thought that the box art looked neat, and after getting a chance to play it months later, eventually beat it and concluded that it was fun. And it was out of my life for a while. Until one day, when I realized that a platformer controlled exclusively with motion controls kinda sucks. Years pass on, and my buddy Sinno decided to stream the game on his Twitch channel. It had a lot of funny moments.
Jesus was the first Sonic OC.
To the point where I suddenly got the urge to edit a few highlight videos, which led to me finding out that it released on my goddamn birthday. I don't think there's anyone else who has a weirder relationship with this game than me. Then again, it's not like there's a ton of people who have a relationship with this game that isn't, wow, this game blows. Considering the game was intended to be a Wii port of 06 before it became something else as a result of the Wii being underpowered as shit, the fact that it loves jamming 7 rings in hand down your throat, and the motion controls certainly functioning, it's no wonder why this game has the reputation that it does. But fast forward to today, and the game is getting a second chance, in the only way controversial Sonic games do, with fans taking matters into their own hands. In a similar vein to Project 06, Sonic and the Secret Rings has its own fan remake in the works, under the name Project Reignition. I discovered this project thanks to last year's Sage Expo. Despite having some really cool stuff, like Sonic Rush 3D, Project Reignition ended up being my favorite game in the whole event. Developed by KumaPauz, this game aims to recreate the entirety of Sonic and the Secret Rings, while improving aspects of it, specifically tweaking the skill system, updating the graphics, and, well, giving it real controls. Today, I'm going to be looking at the 0.2 version of the project, which tweaks the HUD, reworks certain mechanics to function more like the rest of the series, and adds Evil Foundry. You know, the level that goes, who's gonna rock the place? Okay, that's enough of that. I'm not cruel enough to make you put up my awful singing. Let's actually take a look at the game. It's crazy just how much playing this game with standard controls improves the overall experience. I know that goes without saying, but I can't stress how this transforms the game from a clunky mess that you want to be over as soon as possible to an addicting platformer that embraces what makes Sonic games so fun to come back to. With that being said, swapping control schemes doesn't magically erase every quirk the original had. The game is still an on-rails experience, making the simple act of backing up still a shot in the dark. Thankfully, certain mechanics have been tweaked. The old charge jump has been replaced with a more standardized jump, the brake has been completely removed, and the infamous make the game control better skills have been expanded and cost 0 skill points to equip. And if you prefer the weird charging jump in auto-running Sonic, this remake lets you enable them via the skill menu. Now, in order for skills that works with the braking mechanic to work, the slide from the Boost games has replaced it, and wow, is it easy to forget that it's in this game. To put it in perspective, the amount of times I used it was the same as my initial Shadow Generations playthrough, which is to say, 3 times, I think? Obviously, Secret Rings doesn't have those gaps to slide under, and I can't comment on the viability of using it as an attack, since all the enemies in this build are either airborne or have weak points that require you to be in the air. I'll have to wait until a world with grounded enemies gets added. You know, like Skeleton does. If you were to ask someone their thoughts on the Secret Rings soundtrack, you're likely to get one of 2 answers. Either they think it's one of the most unique and memorable soundtracks with its own unique flair, or the single most repetitive soundtrack in the series. And it's obvious why someone would have the latter opinion. With how much the original uses 7 rings in hand, it gets old fast during a normal playthrough. Which is a shame, because it's not a bad song. Project Reignition addresses this issue in a cool way. For one, not being on the Wii helps, so one instance of it playing is already dealt with. And in the level select, an instrumental of Crush 40's cover plays instead. Yeah, it's still 7 rings in hand, but Crush 40's version sounds distinct enough from the original, so this change has a bigger impact than you may think. But I'm not done talking about music yet, as each level has 2 different remixes for the mid and end point of a world's missions. These remixes do a great job making the soundtrack feel less repetitive. No hate to songs like Let the Speed Mended and Wicked Wild, but there's only so many times I can listen to Dinos, it's the jungle, before I want some audible variation. Some of my favorite remixes are Sand Oasis Act 2, leaning hard into the desert vibes, Dino Jungle Act 3, transforming the bombastic original into a chill, atmospheric track. And Evil Foundry Act 2. The team really heard the line, "Who's gonna rock the place?" and said, "Us. We're rocking it." I'll be looking forward to seeing more remixes in future updates, particularly Levitated Ruin, Night Palace, and Skeleton. I'm really loving the art direction this project is going with. The visuals have been upgraded while staying as close to the original as possible. I especially love the effects on Sonic whenever he curls up into a ball. It ends up complementing the incredibly vibrant visuals this project is filled to the brim with. The recent changes to the HUD are especially appreciated. The weird ring cap has been removed, and both the score and time are now displayed. Button prompts for certain level elements like flying pots and grind rails now appear, making learning how to use those things more straightforward. The ring chain timer is not just useful for the missions that use the mechanic, but also for getting a big fat ring bonus, which leads into arguably the best HUD addition, point bonus pop-ups. Since the ranking system has a minimum point requirement, knowing what gives you bonus points is essential. With this all being said, certain elements could use a bit of touching up in a future update, particularly some of the backgrounds. They look very low res on a modern monitor. Although this project is still in a somewhat early stage of development, watching this project progress has been pretty interesting. After the Sage 2024 release, it only took a few months for the Evil Foundry update to drop. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if this video becomes outdated in the next few months in the event that Levitated Ruin gets implemented just as fast, which is pretty likely considering that it doesn't have a boss to port over. Oh yeah, the bosses are getting implemented too. I can't wait to see Sonic beat the shit out of the final bosses hard in HD. One of the features I'm looking forward to the most is, ironically, the tutorial world, due to the fact that the original gave us tutorials through voice dialogue. But you obviously can't just reuse the voice lines, so I'm curious if you'll get someone to impersonate Shara's voice, or just use standard pop-ups. My second most anticipated feature for this, and I swear I'm being genuine, is the party mode. Not because I think it'll go through a similar transformation as the main game, but because it's such a weird enigma of a mode that seeing it remade would be really funny. And while we're on the subject of updates, I'd like to take some time to list off my personal Project Reignition wishlist. Number 1, some kind of option to let us see behind us when backing up. This is the one part of the original that really should be addressed. Number 2, the quick step. With time break and speed break having two different inputs, this would fit in the control scheme pretty naturally. Or maybe they'll go down a similar path that the slide is going down right now. And finally, number 3. In a similar vein to Project 06, some kind of superpowered state would be really neat to see. Whether that be Supersonic, Darkspine Sonic, or something original, I think would be really cool. And that about does it for the wishlist. If any of these things have already been implemented into the game, feel free to make fun of me in the comments. Kuma and his team have accomplished something truly great with this build, despite the fact that it's incomplete. If you have a few hours to spare, I highly recommend checking it out. The link to the download will be in the description. I mean, hell, I had so much fun with it that I played every mission in every stage. Even the shit-ass egg mission. I hope that the sheer quality of this remake inspires someone to do a similar thing with the other storybook game, Sonic and the Black Knight. It would be awesome for both storybook games to have HD remakes with standard controls, due to the cool ideas present in them. In fact, here's a free name idea for the Black Knight remake: Project Reforged. Anyway, back to the remake that currently exists. I look forward to seeing the finished product, and I really hope that it doesn't implode on itself from drama. Too many fan projects end early like that. Let's just hope that doesn't happen, and we get the version of Sonic and the Secret Rings that we deserve. Anyway, me when I lie. Who's gonna rock the place? Place. Who's gonna rock the place? Place. Who's gonna rock the place? Place. Who's gonna rock the place? Yeah, no one can touch this. Who's gonna rock the place? We're forever gonna rock the place. Who's gonna rock the place? All together gonna rock the place. Who's gonna rock the place? We're forever gonna rock the place. Who's gonna rock the place? Yeah, no one can touch this.